presence, my lord.
He commands us to reconquer the 500 worlds of Ultramar. In the 10,000 years between his death and rebirth, how many worlds have been scoured by the archenemy? Devoured by the monsters of the hive mind? Sacrificed on the altar of Exterminatus? He is a demigod out of time, fighting for a golden age that can never dawn again.
Welcome home. Rise, Demetria Titus, Master of the Watch, Captain of the Second Company, Warden of Ultramar!
The Primarch reborn demands the impossible. But only in death does duty end.
What's up, y'all? We are back with another podcast. This time joined by the one and only COMIKEN. How you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. Just glad to be here.
Right. So now, here today, we are here to ask COMIKEN exactly what the heck is he doing? You know, what is the mission for COMIKEN? What is the vision for COMIKEN? And what is the current, standard that COMIKEN abides by in terms of, operating within this indie comic space? Is he really trying to pursue manga, or is he trying to pursue American comics? So we're going to get the lowdown. Okay, man. So let's start at the very top. The name COMIKEN, what's it about? And when you first started the channel, what was your intention?
When I first started the channel, I was 13 years old.
Oh,
so back then, I had an iPod, like second generation, and I was just getting online because everyone else was online. So a lot of the people that were online back then were white manga, and I used to do the white manga contest and try to get those like friggin' Copic markers that they would always have as a prize. And there was this other guy, Metallica, and I think Nicholas Draper-Ivy, he was around but not really as active. And there was a bunch of other creators that you just don't see anymore these days. But that's why I started my channel, was to participate in those contests and to because I saw everyone else doing it. There was this other guy named Evan Burse, who was Cartoon Block, and I just got online because everyone else was doing it.
Did the Cartoon Block guy? He worked at Cartoon Network, right, for some time.
I think so, but I don't know exactly where he worked. He just had that Cartoon Network style for sure.
Yeah, and he wore glasses, right? Black guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
him. Videos all the time.
I remember him being part of the people who congratulated White when his first volume came out. You know, it was like a Nickelodeon event of people congratulating him as if, he got $10 million. But it was a nothing burger, unfortunately. So you started at 13 and you were participating in these contests because other people were doing it too. Now let's talk about that really real quick. So was there an intrinsic desire when you came online to do something that you had an original vision for, or were you just possessed by the bandwagon at the time as to this seems to be fun and there seems to be some rewards at the end of the day. Let me just do this. Was it solely based on the trends, or was there something at the back of your mind I want to actually do this?
At the time, I was just I want to win those markers. I just want to win these contests. I want to prove my skill. I want to put myself out there so that people can see like what I can do, and I can kind of compare and contrast with other people in the scene to see where I stack up, to see if I'm good enough.
Okay. So it was okay. Usually, when people say I wanted others to see my work, sometimes that can mean they were the type of artists who wanted to be seen so they can get commissions, and others are artists who wanted to be seen so they can get a following. Which one were you?
I really, really just wanted those markers, dude. Like, I wasn't trying, I didn't think about, like, back in those days, following really didn't really matter. Uh, and, like, making money, it wasn't even on my mind. So, in those days, it was just about improving my art and competing against other creators, because that's what I thought creating comics was about back in those days. And Bakuman also kind of helped me form that competitive mindset. So it was mostly about competing, and even nowadays it's about competing, not only against myself but against others as well.
Okay, I'm asking all of this because I remember at 14, I think I started my channel at 14, not this one, a bunch of others that got taken down. But um, for me, I had a vision even when I was still a teenager. I wanted to be Hokage, not in the literal sense, but have I had a dream where I wanted to be the guy, and I felt that through manga art I could be Hokage. I can get power and respect through this endeavor. So for you, you never had a vision for yourself through art being Hokage. You really just wanted to compete and have fun.
I didn't say have fun, man. And that is exactly what I wanted to do as well. Like in when I was just starting out, like I would post my stuff on DeviantArt, and I would do all these like little. There was a journal feature on DeviantArt where you would type out the things that just type out your thoughts and whatnot. And from the beginning, my sights were set on trying to beat like Eiichiro Oda because he was perceived as the number one creator in manga at the time, and I thought, oh, that's so it would be so easy to beat him. I'll just do something like he's doing and do it better. But that was back then when I was thinking when I had no idea what it actually takes to create comics. I thought it would be easy to make it to the top, and all I had to do was take whatever the original or just try to beat the top guy. And over time, I just realized like there's so many different styles and so many different ways to get to the top that you don't have to beat the top guy anymore. So
When
yeah,
did you
back then I
realize?
was just like I gotta beat Oda.
Oh, okay. When did you realize? At what age did you realize that I don't have to go through the path Oda went through, nor do I need to be like Oda per se to maybe get the same rewards as Oda? At what age did you realize that?
It might have been in my 20s because during my teenage years, I was really focused on learning Japanese, trying to get into a Japanese school. If I couldn't get into a high school, I'd try to get into a college. Um, and I still know a lot of Japanese to this day because of how intensely I was studying it just so I could go over to Japan and try to make a living um, in comics. But uh, I didn't really quit my focus on that dream until my early 20s.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about them teenage years. Uh, your parents are from the motherland, right? Originally, or were they born there in the States also?
No, they were born in Nigeria.
Okay, so when they went to the States, did they instill in you a a vision of what your life is meant to be. Like, okay, look, we escaped the motherland, so we brought to have you here, and you should be a doctor. You should be the. Did they try to instill any of that, or did they give you the liberty to choose whatever you want to be?
100% they tried to make me a doctor. I would be telling them for years, like, oh I'm gonna be a doctor. Yeah, I'll be a pediatrician. Like, I would be telling them that throughout my entire high school years, just so they would kind of like just leave me alone and let me create my art without complaining. But when it was finally time to go to college, that was when that was when I had to like tell them the truth. Like, yeah, I don't really want to be a doctor, and it sounds like it was casual now, but that shit was like the hardest shit I ever had to do in my life, where I had to tell them like, yeah, I want to do art and make a living at art. And they freaked out, but only because, and this is not something I did, this is something I didn't realize until I went to Nigeria a couple months ago. I think they freaked out because it's so difficult just to make a living at doing anything in Nigeria, that they thought I was just signing up to be poor if I was going to be an artist or a creator.
And when you made it clear to them that, look, I lied about wanting to be a doctor in your 20s, did they try to reprimand you? Did they threaten you? Did they sanction you? As in, like, we're not going to pay your tuition fees if you want to do this comic thing, or what?
I deadass like left. I got kicked out of the house, and then I went to be homeless for a while. And I was homeless for like 60 days, where I was just trying to figure out a lot about life and see what it's like to not be sheltered all the time. And that breakage of the bond between me and my parents kind of helped me separate myself or individuate myself a little bit, to where, like, when I came back home, they were more than happy for me to go to college or like go to a comic school, which I wanted to do at first, because they were just like, at least he's not homeless anymore. Let's get him into whatever kind of college he wants to go to. We're not even gonna question him on it. I mean, they didn't like pay for it. I had to pay for all that myself, but they were supportive after I stopped being homeless.
Why didn't they pay for it then? Is it because they couldn't, or they just didn't want to?
I'm not really sure how their finances are set up, but we just all take care of our own schooling. Like, that stuff is so expensive that we don't put it on our parents. We're just like, yeah, we'll figure it out for ourselves. I think that's just how it's been in our family in general.
Yeah, now that is something I call madness, and it's tremendously niggery if you ask me. But oh well, at least, whatever. So, let's say in your early 20s, because you're 29 now, how long did it take you to graduate the Joe Kubert Comic School?
That was a 3-year program.
3-year program. And you had to jump into student loans to get that.
Yep.
See, this is the part I remember. I almost went to the Joe Kubert School. Like maybe,
Really?
yeah, because at the time, finances here at home were all right. Then I sat and thought about it. I'm like, bruh, this is still a lot of money. Just because you can go doesn't mean you should. And I'm glad I didn't go, to be honest. My sister ended up going to study in Miami and in Florida. And yeah, that wrecked the finances, and that was around time of COVID, so it really was when everybody's business was being jacked up. So I was like, listen, please come back home, because it just ain't right. A lot of the money's going to your tuition over there. Just get on a plane and come back. Education is definitely too expensive these days. But okay, it was a 3-year program, had to go into them student loans. Did the school promise any guarantee of apprenticeship under popular working comic artists at the time? Did they promise that? Was there even a system like that that existed?
How do you mean apprenticeship? Like after school is over or during the
Yeah.
schooling time?
Well, I would like to think after, right? So after, if you get really good grades or whatever, you have potential. Let's say they would hook you up with Marks of History Studio, and then you work under him for a couple of years until you break in. Is there such a system like that?
That would be sick, but no, there's no type of system like that. At least not in the industry these days. I actually had already connected with a couple of artists before the school and during the school that I work with afterwards. So it's like you have to find those apprenticeship opportunities yourself. And I found that before I got into the school. So
Were you
that
taught
was
by
the
a
situation.
popular artist before you got into the school?
Um, I'm not sure if he was popular at the time. It was more that the writer he was working with was popular. His name is Nick Patera, and that's who I was working with before I got into the school.
Why did you
I just met
feel,
him at a convention.
why then did you go into the school if you already had a high level artist like mentoring you?
Because I wanted to be surrounded by other artists and compete with them. And then with him as a working artist, there it wasn't a consistent enough um, visitation period where I could just be constantly going to his place and learning skills and whatnot, because he was always busy doing something and it would be kind of inconsistent to visit him. So going to the school gave me a period of 3 years where I had no other focus but creating comics purely every single day and just creating.
You know, that always sounds great in theory, but in the practice, man, there's just so much to deal with. And the aftermath of the schooling that doesn't promise you to be, under an apprenticeship of somebody, it doesn't, they don't even try to hook you up with contracts with Marvel or whatnot. I mean, right now you can't do that at all, but back then, I remember looking at the website back then, they made such promises of like, you could work with Marvel. There are Marvel artists who come and go within the school to see whom they can recruit and stuff like that. It painted this organized system and pipeline where graduates definitely didn't just have hope but certainty. But now there's no certainty at all, and the hope is lackluster or non-existent you know
Yeah, like back then, there was even a full ride scholarship where you could go to the school for free, and DC would fund it. Like DC would fund your schooling. But the current industry now is so fucked up, it's so messed up that even if you go to the school, it's not a guarantee of anything. And most of my class is not even working in comics. Like a lot of
Damn.
them have I just don't know where they're at. Like I'm the only one, not the only one, but I'm one of the only ones from my year that's still
Drawing.
putting his all into it.
That is nuts, bro. Like, I mean, I studied graphic design, got the worthless degree, and most of the graduates in my year and under and over are not doing graphic design now, especially because of AI. But even before AI, others just went to their family business or whatever. Um, the the system is too oversaturated in every industry at this point, and now AI is going to subsidize all of that. Okay, well, let's talk about the Comic Ken brand. When you first started the channel, was it still the same name?
What was it when I first started? I think it was called the Next Manga King. That's what my name was when I first started that channel. Um, And then I was just like, okay, well, maybe I could just do a play on words with my name, COMIKEN. And that's why I changed it to that. Um,
When did you change it? What
because
year?
even back, I'm sorry,
What year did you change it?
it might have been 2015 or so. Because even back then, I was like, yeah, I want to be the next manga king. Like, I want to, like, as soon as I saw Naruto, I was just like, that's what I want to do. And then when I read One Piece, I was just like, I got to make something on this level to at least have a shot at becoming one of the best.
Okay, man, 2015 was like one of the best times. 15, 16, 17, best 3 years of my life, and I'm sure a lot of people before you know what happened in 2020. And it
Yeah.
feels like yesterday, but it's a flipping decade ago. But anyway, okay, so in the beginning, your main pursuit was manga. When you went to the Joe Kubert school, of course, they don't teach manga. They teach, American style comics. Now your style has manga paneling, I would say, a manga type reading flow, but the designs are very much so still American. Right now, as things are you pursuing manga or are you pursuing like the American cartoon style? I would say your style is like the original Ben 10, you know, which is very much so liked. I like it. So which one is it now?
The comic I'm doing right now called Saintly, that one is closer to anime style. But I'm not trying to do manga in the traditional sense of the word. I'm coloring the comic, so it's gonna be more of a web comic type thing.
Oh, okay. So don't that here's yeah, that's what I want to figure out. As to like your target audience to me doesn't seem to be um it doesn't seem to be clear. I don't know who you're really targeting, you know. Even with your art because it's like in a way it feels like a manga based on the reading style. We can see the manga
Hmm.
influence, but it's not manga at the same time. But the people you're that you reach are people who actually read manga, right? So that's where I'm confused as to like it you say it's not really a manga and it's not, but it's reaching people who prefer to read manga. I don't think that's intentional. What do you think is going on?
Yeah, a lot of what I'm doing with the channel is not intentional because I'm just in that grind phase where I'm posting videos every day, and a lot of the videos that I post are the thoughts that come off the top of my head, or things that I've been thinking about for a long, long time. Like I've written over 200 pages of storytelling notes to myself that I'm just like, these are the standards that I want to include in the art that I create. And I still haven't even touched on that. I still haven't even touched or done videos on those things because I'm always talking about like manga because it's always had the most emotional effect on me compared to American comics. But I've still read a lot of American comics as well.
Yeah, like definitely. To me, it feels like it has that feeling of manga, but it's just not at the same time. And so, if manga had such an emotional impact, how is it, why is it you are not trying to make a straight up manga instead? Why try to sell to a market that is diminishing by the day? Because the American indie market, in a way, um, it's very I don't want to say exclusive, but it's like a in crowd where certain types of people are allowed in, right? And that crowd of people that you are trying to sell to, they might like you, but they might not like the product you're making because it has a lot of manga influence to it. So why are you trying to sell to that type of customer?
I'm not. Um, it's not that I'm necessarily trying to sell to that type of customer. And I do understand like the indie comic scene is like kind of an in crowd type of thing. Like I used to watch a lot of what do you call it, like Comicscape videos, especially by this guy named your boy Zach. And I used to see like Ethan Van Sciver videos as well, but those got like really political and really like overly dramatic. Um, and I'm not even sure what the indie scene looks like these days.
Yeah.
I did a video where I said I don't even know where I fit in. I don't know where my work would really be accepted or what I do. The only reason why I don't consider it strictly a manga is because I just want to color the comic. Like I want to make it with color. And that's the only thing that separates it from being a manga 100% and puts it more into that category of web comic. Not necessarily webtoon, but more like web comic, because I grew up on a lot of hidden gem web comics that were just really good that nobody knows about.
Okay, so but that's the problem. Indeed, when you color it, it does fall into that category of American comic or web comic, I suppose. But as you say, the indie space market right now, it feels so disjointed and I once described it as an abandoned building, right? It was once Walmart. Imagine a Walmart store that's been completely obliterated, and there's still a few shelves over there, but it doesn't have it's not operating like an actual supermarket. It's not. It doesn't have the same systems. It doesn't have the same expectations from the customer or the producer. There is no quality control, quality check. There is no understanding that, you know, from the primary sector, these are the ingredients we're gonna get. Those raw materials, and then we'll send it to the secondary sector and then the tertiary sector. It's all been jacked. And that's why I'm like, so you are volunteering to walk into a jacked Walmart and put your product on a blown up shelf and expect these people roaming around this blown up Walmart to expect them to pay for it. But then in general, these people don't come into this Walmart to pay for anything. They come in here to see the drama and chaos that some Neanderthals are fighting over on the other side of the building, right? And that's why, to me, I'm confused as to like, but if you know that Walmart's jacked up, why still display your product in there?
There's a couple ways to approach this question. One, the entirety of the American comic scene is, I would say for guys at my level, it's cooked. Like everyone is trying to find a way to make their business work on their own, because the bigger corporations or the bigger entities that would house people's work, like it did in the 90s or the 80s before that, is they're not functioning as something that is beneficial to newer talent. They withhold, like they keep all the older talent and give them all the work, and then for the newer guys coming up, like we have little projects here and there that we can use to try to gather a name and build something up. But the only reason I do this right now is like making YouTube videos and whatnot, is because I want to develop my own platform or develop my own place where I can create and do what I want and sell to the people who want what I'm creating. And I don't have to be reliant on the bigger corporations or entities and substructures and whatnot. So that's my whole reasoning behind making my channel, is to make my own platform where I can make the comics and sell it directly to my customer without a middleman. But I wouldn't I wouldn't hold off on, like, I wouldn't count out the idea of submitting to Image one day.
Right. Well, we know they're compromised, but oh well, they are the least bad of them all. Okay, the customer that you are trying to sell to, describe them for us. What the customer you're trying to sell to, who are they? Around what age group? And in general, what is preferred um, their preferred product, I suppose, their preferred story? Let's describe them for us.
This is like an exercise that I did before I tried to sell Air Rider, like with my first Kickstarter, where I created like this kind of customer avatar. And so it would be a guy who is maybe in his early to late 20s. Maybe like I'm not sure, like probably slightly on the autistic spectrum, maybe. You know what I
Why?
mean? I'm sorry?
Did you say autistic?
Yes.
Why that?
I think they have a higher response to the type of art that anime creates, or maybe stuff like Sonic creates. Like they have a higher attunement to that type of art style. Whereas American comics, you need to be like super detailed before somebody will even give you a chance at reading your stuff. Um, so yeah, maybe on the autistic spectrum. And he, what else was on my list? Oh, he likes, let's say like Y2K, like early 2000s style media or comics, cartoons, anime that came from that time period, even like 90s stuff, that kind of stuff. And what else? And also likes horror, like liminal space, horror type stuff. I want to do more videos like that so that I can capture more of that audience, because it's kind of like a hole in the market where nobody's really talking about that stuff. So I want to eventually like pivot to talking more about that type of art and stuff, because the I always think about like comics and manga, and that's why I do videos on that stuff. But the stuff I really want to talk about is like liminal space, horror, and like Y2K aesthetics, like art aesthetics.
Why haven't you started talking about that yet?
I do have a few videos about that, like earlier when I started doing this 100-day challenge. But these days, like while I'm going to different jobs and whatnot, like I'm just turning on my camera and talking about the first thing that comes to mind or whatever, and not I don't have a script. I'm just going off the top. And to do videos on art aesthetics and whatnot would require me to kind of take even more time away from making my comic. So I would have to like screen record the aesthetic that I'm talking about, and that would take just slightly longer than what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now, I can do it pretty quick and just get back to drawing my comic.
Okay, so that is the demographic that you're trying to reach. What about their current psychology? And by that I mean their current worldview, right? Because it's one thing that your comic should, appease or appeal to people with a certain worldview, but your videos are actually the real vehicle to getting people to buy your book. And that so their current worldview, what type of people are you marketing to, trying to sell to in terms of their current worldview? Hey guys, if you want to see the full video and its context, consider joining my Patreon. That's where the real caffeine is at. Cheers.